Here in the heart of Kitchener's iconic Central Frederick neighborhood lies Ambrosia Corner Bakery, a charming little spot with excellent coffee and even better pastries. Owner Ora Herzog has been pushing through the perils of the pandemic. I'm going to go sit down with her now and learn how she plans on bouncing back.
My grandmother worked. She had 4 children, but she worked full time and opened a store with her husband. And so I think that strong work ethic was always with me. That entrepreneurship was always there. My mother was a single mom when I was 6 years old. Her and my father separated, and she had 2 kids. She got a big house out of the separation. She was sort of like, well, what am I going to do? I've got 2 kids and a big house. So she's like, I'm going to do bed and breakfast. And so when I was 7 or 8, she started doing bed and breakfast in our house. Initially it was like 1 or 2 bedrooms, and then suddenly it was like, okay, no, it's more bedrooms and more bedrooms. So my mother started a bed and breakfast company and had 20 other houses eventually working for her, and she was booking their rooms. And so from that, I think I sort of got the idea of like, well, you can work for yourself, you know, you can work really hard. And when we first started Ambrosia, the idea was let's wholesale products. Let's make products that like restaurants don't make in-house that we could help, right? So that was sort of the idea behind when we started Ambrosia. And then we found that, you know, restaurants really weren't interested because they would prefer to make desserts in-house, or else, depending on the restaurant, they just might be buying desserts at a much lower price from a food service distributor. So we're like, okay, well, that's not really gonna work. And then my ex was like, oh, why don't we make chocolate? And I'm like, you can't make chocolate. People don't make chocolate. Like, you just buy it. And he's like, no, you can make it. I've been researching it. And I was like, okay. So the next thing you know, like, it was very small scale. Like when we were winnowing, we were using a hair dryer to separate the shells from the husks, like the husks from the nibs. The margins are so slim. And the amount of money and time and labor that goes into making chocolate, it's really a labor of love, right? Fast forward a few years, and my husband and I just decided that we liked each other, but not to be a couple together. And so we decided to split up. And it was really challenging because we had a business together. So a lot of what kept us together was the business. And we were both very passionate about the business. And so it was very stressful to leave a relationship. And also, what do you do about a business that you've opened together? Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Do we just like sell off this business? If we're not gonna do Ambrosia, then I just wanna just shut it down, it's done. I didn't wanna, you know, try to sell the brand. That wasn't of interest to me at the time. And so the previous tenants had decided they had another restaurant that was taking up a lot of their attention. And so this space sort of came up in my conversations with them. And so I was like, well, this might be a great thing for me, because I can bring all my equipment here and carry on a little bit what they were doing, and also build and sort of create my own vision for this space. And so the space found me. I wouldn't say that I was looking. I didn't at all think about taking Ambrosia and moving it elsewhere. Initially, when I had moved into this space, I was gonna completely rebrand it, have it a different name. And then I thought, but wait a second, I've worked really hard for the last 6-7 years building a strong brand for myself, a recognizable name. And do I really just want to give that up right now? And I didn't. So I felt, okay, why don't I just kind of tweak it? So, you know, I used to be Ambrosia Pastry Company. And then I decided, well, you know what? Now we're here in the Central Frederick neighborhood. I'm going to call it Ambrosia Corner Bakery because we're on the corner. It also came to a point where I had to physically move where I was living. And so that was also really stressful. So when I split up with my husband, I kept the house for a year and he moved in with his parents. So that was hard. So I was like, okay, where am I going to live now with my kids? And I'm like, oh, I just started a business. I don't make any money. I'm not going to get a bank loan. So that was really hard. So yeah, there was times where waking up at 2 in the morning, not going back to sleep, because I'm like, where am I going to live? And also I'd opened up a neighborhood business in a neighborhood I felt passionate about. And I was like, now I can't afford to live in this neighborhood. So that was really, really hard. But things worked out. I'm in a new relationship and we found a house in the neighborhood together and we were able to afford to buy it. and my ex actually was able to keep the house that we had raised the kids in. So that was sort of a nice thing for everyone. Before March 17th, 16th, is that the day? Is that the official coronavirus Waterloo region date? So before that, we were open 5 days a week. We had a student here with us. We had 5 of us on staff. I actually just hired somebody as well to sort of, and we were starting to make more things. We were starting to look at, okay, let's make some more lunch items. Let's sort of like, and I was starting to do more community. I mean, I'd always done community-based stuff, but I was really looking at the space. We had started doing more workshops, so at least every week there was something going on here in the evening. So the space was starting to be used more in the evenings for more community-based stuff. And so suddenly all of that, I had like a big chalkboard was coming for this wall. I had it like made with barn board at Artifacts and St. Jacob. So that was en route. And to really like highlight what was going on, and my mind was going of like, what else can we be doing in the other hours? And suddenly it was like, well, none of that's going to happen now. My business is so focused on community and bringing community together, and how do I continue to do that now that I can't do it the way that I was hoping to do it?